So let's kind of go through some of these. Is the market in blatant admitted pain? So a lot of times you have people that are kind of in need of something, in need of a solution, but they're not owning up to it. They don't fess up to it. They don't really recognize that they're in pain. And that's often a big challenge. And you may say, guys, you're in so much pain. There's a big problem that needs to be solved. Don't you see it? And that can turn into a decent market. The challenge is when you try and build a business or a product or service around that type of market where they're not really excruciatingly aware of the fact that they're in pain, they're in need of a solution, you take on an educational burden, which can sometimes become massive, to literally re-educate people about the fact that things aren't going quite as swimmingly as they'd like them to be, to open people's eyes. And you always take on some level of educational burden when you're marketing, but if people aren't even close to owning up to the fact that they're in very just sort of public pain, and then you have to do a lot more convincing. So that's one of the factors that I look at a market. Is the market just out there saying, yeah, I'm feeling the pain and I'm owning up to that feeling? A second one is the market actively searching for a solution? So again, is this an absolute must? No. But will it make your job a whole lot easier if you know that people are already out there looking for a solution? Yes. Because you can actually, it makes it much more easy to what marketers call enter the conversation that's already going on in somebody's head. So if that conversation already puts them out there actively seeking to find something or to solve a problem, it's much easier to enter that conversation, and they've already convinced themselves that they're in pain and they need something to be solved. So that part of the process doesn't need to be sort of hit that much more aggressively. It becomes easier because now you can focus more on identifying what you are selling as the solution, knowing that they're already looking for a solution. You don't have to convince them that they need to look. So it takes away one big barrier and it makes your job easier.
Yeah.
Is the market big enough? So this is another thing, and this really depends on what you're selling. So if you're a personal trainer and you're in a town and there's 50 to 100,000 people in a town and your capacity is 20 clients a week, and that's it. You're done after that. You're living well in the world. You're making what you need to make. You have a wait list. Well, and you're charging a substantial amount of money, maybe charging $100 an hour for your sessions, then you're going to need a different number of people. The size of that market can be much smaller. Whereas if you have a business where you're selling info products for $9.95, for an ebook or something like that, and you're looking for that business to earn you enough to earn that same amount of money to live well in the world, let's call it $100K, you're going to have a vastly larger market of people to market to because the product price is so much lower. And also for you to really make as much money as you need to sell many, 100 times more. Or actually that would be 10 times more, 1,000% more to make the same amount of money. So the size of your market is really important. Is it big enough to actually, when you figure out what the price point of what you want to sell is, you multiply that by the number of people you need? Is the pool of people out there big enough for you to consistently bring new people into it? And that gets into the next one, which is it regularly renewing? Are there always new people coming into the potential pool for you to make them aware of you and then potentially turn into your clients and solve their problems? Because if it's just, if you start with 100 people, or if you start with 1,000 people, and you're like, oh, cool, there's plenty of people now, and then you go through 10 people, and then you go through 20 people and 30 people, you hit a certain point where you've hit everybody. And if that market isn't renewing on a regular basis and growing, there aren't new people coming into it, eventually when you do what we call burning through the market. And so you want to know that there's always, there's a regularly renewing group of people. So a perfect example of this, if you're serving the community of new moms or pregnant women, every year you're going to have millions of new people that are looking for information, solutions, products, services, and that market, that group of people is constantly renewing, and every year it always will be. Last 2 points here are really, is the market frustrated with their current solutions, which is, and this is where you have to ask, it's kind of a two-part thing. Are they frustrated with your current solutions, and are you doing something which is really significantly different from what's out there. Because if if people have this need, but there are a whole bunch of really great solutions out there already, they're priced well, and what you want to do is just add to the pool of possible solutions without doing something which is different in a way which is better. And you always have to remember, differentiation isn't enough. Differentiation that makes you better is the bare minimum. Then you're going to have a lot of trouble, even if you have something which is really good. If it's not substantially better than what else is out there, you want to know if the market is satisfied with their current solutions, or if they're looking for something else. Is there a gap that's not being satisfied? And that's why, that kind of goes along with the last one here. Are they capable of understanding how your solution is different or better without a huge educational effort and need to persuade them? And you'll always have to educate to a certain extent. You'll always have to persuade. But depending on the market, it may take an itty-bitty amount of energy and work and time and money, or it can take a huge amount. The cool thing is, if you go into a market where essentially you are creating an entire new category, an entire new solution out of thin air, and you're solving a problem that sometimes people didn't even know they had, but you're capable of letting them know how much pain they really are in, that's called going blue ocean. You're literally creating a new ocean of opportunity here, which is tremendous because it can open up a market and literally make it so that you have almost no competition for a reasonable period of time. The challenge is it invariably takes a huge amount of money, time, and effort to do that, and very few people are capable of investing themselves emotionally, physically, and monetarily in that process.